And welcome back to another episode of Grade A Fantasy. We are here during the, post-rain delay. The game has just restarted. We still have got about 4 minutes left in the third quarter. Little storm and lightning systems over here on the East Coast going through Philly into New York. So the game has just restarted, 24-20. Philly is still up and driving currently. But that is not the big news. Literally a few hours ago, pretty much before the kickoff of this game, before the kickoff of the NFL season, the big news is, and it's still not updated on FanDuel yet, but a little bit after 8, right before the 8:15, 8:20 kickoff, Christian Mccaffrey has landed on the injury report. Now, it's obviously not updated on FanDuel, it's still pretty new, but he reportedly dealing with a calf issue. Nobody wants to hear that. We all know what happened last year when he dealt with a calf issue. The calf issue landed him pretty much on IR and didn't really get his season started until the middle of the year. And then his PCL was injured, and then he was pretty much out after 4 to 5 games. Apparently, the reports were he was at practice for about the first 20 minutes, but was not available for his typical Thursday media session. So the report is, once again, it's a calf issue. Seems like he's not totally away from it. From what we all thought, there was nothing but praise during training camp preseason. There was no setbacks of any sort, but apparently the calf issue has reared its ugly head again. So what does that mean? Depending on what optimizer, whatever you're using, it's either McCaffrey or Chase Brown are gonna be not only the most popular running backs, but ownership wise the most popular players on the slate. So besides looking at the other options, let's just go straight into the 49ers. So if we get a repeat, if all of a sudden we get a repeat of last year and they sit Christian McCaffrey, let's just scroll him out. We're looking at possibly, more than likely, now there was a time, if this was last year, we'll be looking at, there was a couple of weeks where Isaac Guriendo was 53 and 58 before they put him up to maybe 6,000 and something, whatever the case may be. Now it's Brian Robinson, who's 63, who was just the former number one of the Redskins. I think he will, without a doubt, instantly jump. It might be somewhat of a committee in a way, and Brian Robinson will definitely be the goal line back, but Guriendo will still get some burn. But you'll definitely have to boost up Brian Robinson into your, if you use your optimizer or if you're hand building. It's not as easy as to just put Christian McCaffrey as a cash game. If something were to happen to McCaffrey or he is limited, I could definitely see when it comes to ownership or just because 30% from one running back is a lot. So I could definitely see that. If you're at 80, he's at 81, I guess it's easier to say get the extra 100 to get somebody like Achan who's dealing with a calf injury, but he's like on track to play. And if not, find the extra 200 probably for a bigger play. And instead of having decent ownership, I think Jonathan Taylor's ownership probably jumps up quite a bit. So the Christian McCaffrey news, 72 hours away from kickoff basically, and we don't really know what's happening. But as you can see, it hasn't been updated yet on FanDuel. But yeah, it's a pretty big deal. And then right under him, who normally plays well against Detroit, you got Josh Jacobs. So if he is even limited or out, definitely me personally, I will definitely boost up Josh Jacobs, Taylor, and then Achan in that order. As we continue with the preview, like I said, Bijan up top. It is a tough matchup, but the volume, he's still worth the 8,800. We all know the lightning rod Jahmyr Gibbs can be. Jonathan Taylor has a great matchup with Miami. Like I said, if Christian McCaffrey doesn't play, boost up his ownership. Devon Achane because of his usage, and it's a good matchup. Opposite side of that game against the Colts, solid matchup. One of my favorite plays, lower ownership, and that's another thing. I hope McCaffrey plays, and some people will still roster him because I don't want any of this extra ownership going to what I feel is going to be a low-owned James Conner. New Orleans, like I said, they're on track to be one of the worst defenses in the league, worst teams in general. So James Conner is definitely one of my favorite low-owned plays. People are going to still be going with Kamara. Kamara's going to have to just touch the ball He's probably just gonna. The thing with Kamara is there were weeks last year for about a month where people just had him as the number one play because with the injuries that were going on, people forget also the Saints were dealing with wide receiver injuries, and then the way Derek Carr played, he will always make sure to dump it off. But what it was that was he a good FanDuel play? No. Maybe for 1 week last year, yes. But them other weeks, no. He was always a good DraftKings play because it's a full point PPR over there. So I think it's more to me. Kamara is, and I think the Arizona defense is a lot better than last year. Kamara is a way better DraftKings play because automatically with what he catches 8, 9, 10 times, that's already 10 points, and then you're just adding the yardage on top of that. Running might be a struggle, but since it's full point PPR over there, it's a way better pick on DK than it is on FanDuel. Chase Brown basically is right there with the ownership. I think now he, without a doubt, like I said, it depends on what site you're playing. It's either Chase Brown or McCaffrey up top, but it's probably going to be unanimously Chase Brown now, who's completely healthy. Chuba Hubbard right there at a nice mid price of $6,500 at Jacksonville. I was surprised Answer Gentry was good. Like I said, I did the value show for the running backs, and I was surprised FanDuel didn't start the rookie Ashton Genty at least at 7,000 or 64. He's a bargain. We just went over Brian Robinson. You always know you take David Montgomery to be the optimal pick to go against Jahmyr Gibbs if he gets enough, goal line touches. If you're looking for anything lower, that's when you start looking at possibly, like I said, there's going to be time in the season you're going to have to wait out certain things to see how it goes. Like I said, I really don't have a read on Dobbins and Harvey. Like I said, the Broncos are still in the hunt to see who's the actual number one there. Ramondre Stevenson, I'll tell you one thing. If Ramondre somehow does not make it, and if he gets ruled out, then one of my top plays will definitely be, where is he? Man, I'm missing. There we go. Travion Henderson, 4,700. He automatically probably jumps Chase Brown, and probably half to 60% of whatever contest you're in is going to have him. He's going to be a lead back at 4,700. He's $700 away from a FanDuel minimum. Gotta love that. Like I said, that's a possibility, so you're going to have to wait and see. And other than that, like I said, Nick Chubb at the Rams. I understand people all over the Chubb, but I'm really not. It's one of those. That's not an easy. That's not an easy matchup, technically running wise. So that's why I'm not really all over Chubb like that. Tony Pollard is gonna be. You know what Tony Pollard is gonna be for the first 4 weeks? He's gonna be Kamara what he was in the middle of the season for those 4 weeks. With Tajay Spears on the IR, Tony Pollard is gonna get the volume. We've seen Tony Pollard get the volume, but guess what? I will not be touching Tony Pollard going against Denver. In Denver, that defense, no, thank you. He is a fade for me personally. He's one of those I'm just not touching. But yeah, as we scroll back up, the big story, without a doubt, Christian McCaffrey. It's just one of those things, guys, that it just came out a few hours ago. It's reminiscent of what happened last year. He might play. Hey, we're gonna sit him out a bit. Hey, he's gonna be on PUP. We'll sit him out. He comes back. He rests a little bit, and then he didn't see his first action until week 7. This could be that. He basically had a year off because last year he only played 4 to 5 games before the PCL when they thought he was ready to go. When he did play, I'm not going to lie, with the calf issue, he didn't have his explosiveness. So I said originally I want to be right at the field of McCaffrey. I don't want to be over the field of McCaffrey. This makes me want to be under the field. We have to wait and see. We're going to have to wait and see. The 49ers are on the road, so this is probably one of those things where they travel tomorrow and then we don't hear anything until Saturday. We probably would have heard something as a final Friday practice if they were the home team. But normally on a Friday, the team travels that day. If they're on the road, they travel that day, and then they'll probably have a walkthrough Saturday. So it's just one of those things you're going to have to wait and see. But the Christian McCaffrey injury is huge. Once again, Brian Robinson, Isaac Guriendo, but the minute I see an out or he's some type of limited but's going to play, I am booming up Brian Robinson because just like how he was used on the Redskins, he's going to be the one that's going to. Brian Robinson's talented enough to be a 3-down back, and he was, he got a decent amount of goal line looks in Washington. I think he gets that as well, even though they know they have the talent in Isaac to relieve him. Brian Robinson, without a doubt, will probably be my favorite play. And if also in the same slate, Ramondre Stevenson gets ruled out, then we all gonna have Travion Henderson. It makes no sense not to have Travion Henderson. 4,700 pricing's already soft, and you could basically build an all-star team. You pick Travion Henderson and the Denver Broncos, who are the most expensive defense at 4,800. Like I said, you're already getting a $200 discount. You don't even have $10,000 spent on a lead running back and probably the best defense. And then you just build from there. But once again, that is the episode. That is the running back / Christian McCaffrey injury update show. Wide receiver show is last. Enjoy the rest of the game. They'll be getting into the fourth quarter pretty soon. This is your boy, Grade A Fantasy, signing off.